Right guys, welcome back. Now, I want many of you guys to know to never ever to buy a BMW without doing this first. Now I know there's gonna be many of you that are gonna regret seeing this video because you probably just purchased your BMW and you didn't do any of this and are probably facing all these issues. So the first one, what you need to do when going to buy a BMW is to open the coolant reservoir, okay? You will open it up and you want to check that there's no milky substance in the coolant reservoir. If there is, that means it's either got a head gasket problem or it's got an oil cooler problem, where the oil and the coolant is mixing, causing it to get back through into the reservoir. Now, many of you will be put off by that, especially if you're not going to do the repairs yourself, but it is an easy job to replace the gasket. If you don't do your mechanical stuff yourself and you haven't got no one around you who's mechanically minded, then avoid buying that car, because if that's already gone and someone hasn't changed that and they're trying to flog it onto you, it means there's going to be tons of other stuff wrong with it that you are not going to be able to afford to do as well. So therefore, I would avoid buying it. The next one, if you go to buy a BMW and it's got a dipstick, pull the dipstick tube out. Make sure you check on that, if there's any kind of particles, how it smells, and if it's got any milky residue either. If it's got milky residue in the bottom of the sump pan, it could possibly be the head gasket. The oil will tell you how well a car's been looked after. If the oil is clean, usually it means that engine has been looked after. If it's black, it means it's been neglected and probably the oil hasn't been changed on time. Therefore, I strongly advise not to buy that car either. The next one on these guys is to make sure there's no EML light on your BMW. Now, as you guys know, when it's sitting with the ignition off, the EML light shows. When you start the engine, there shouldn't be no EML light on the dash. If there's an EML light, make sure to find out what the issue is, because there should be no EML light on a BMW. It should show like this when the ignition is on in position 1, but it should go off as soon as the engine starts. Many people seem to think, oh, it's meant to be on, or they'll try and fob you off saying it's an O2 sensor. If the engine light's on, it could be something a lot more sinister than the O2 sensors, like a Vanos solenoid, misfire on one of the cylinders, which could end up being no compression, or it could be a very, very serious fault. This is why it's always handy to take a code reader with you. A BMW specific one, I don't mean a cheap one, because you will need to find the accurate fault code. Therefore, you'll be able to get money off it if you wish to buy that car. The next one is the engine oil level. Make sure to check the engine oil level, and you will need to start the car to check it, and it might not give a reading straight away until the car has warmed up. Now, you always want to go and view a car when the engine is cold and let it come up to temperature while you are there to listen for any sounds or anything like that. And when it does, you'll come into the iDrive menu and you'll check your oil level. It has to be checked on the iDrive and it won't give a reading straight away, but it should give a reading after the first 10-15 minutes or drive around the block, and it will give you a reading. You can read the oil level while on the move as well. So that's really a good thing with the electronic ones. You will not get a reading while it's in the ignition one. You'll get a reading like this: engine oil level okay, which is basically saying it's okay anyway. If the oil level is low, that is a serious problem, because you don't know how long that person has run low with the oil low without even checking. Or do they wait until they get a message saying low oil? If they do, that is never ever good for these cars, and therefore I would strongly advise to not buy that car at all because of that problem. Now, if you are buying an E90 or an E87, you might not have the iDrive, but you'll have it all on your stalk here to be able to press to see the oil level on the OBD here. You'll be able to see it and see the level and everything else on here. You'll be able to see the oil level. It's like a line which tells you if it's on high or low down here. You'll be able to see it right there on the OBD. So do make sure, if you do go to buy an E90 or E87, they do have a digital oil level still, but it will be here on the instrument cluster. It won't be on the iDrive like that. Do remember that, because people will try and tell you, oh, it don't have one. It does. Do not think it has a dipstick instead, because it doesn't have the iDrive system. It will have the display up here for the oil level, and you'll be able to check it as well. Just with the stalk here on the left, you'll be able to press it and get into the option for the oil level. So don't let anyone fob you off telling you it can't be checked. So there you have it, guys. Those are just some of the basic checks to do when you're buying your first BMW or buying any BMW. That already will show people that you know what you're looking for and know what you're doing. Checking oil level is very, very crucial, especially for an N-series engine, purely because they do like to burn oil. And also a lot of people ain't aware of my video which says to switch to 5W40, therefore they continue to run 5W30. And obviously with that in mind, you don't know how many times then people have allowed that engine to run low on oil and probably run catastrophically low that it could have done engine damage before they put more oil into the engine. And therefore that's why I'm saying to you, it's so important to do them checks. One, to check for any kind of head gasket failure, oil cooler gasket failure, because that oil cooler gasket failure could have been for a long time and got thrown oil everywhere as well down the engine bay onto the belts. That's something else you've got to be very careful with. Please, with the EML lights, take a BMW specific scan tool like Launch Creator Elite for BMW, which will show you any kind of BMW fault codes and tell you what's wrong with it. That will help you be able to get money off to fix whatever you need to fix on that car. That is where people go wrong, not taking a scan tool with them when buying a BMW, and that's how they end up getting conned and then regret their purchase after and contact me and say they wish they never bought that car, but they bought it and they're trying to do their best to repair it. Buy that scan tool. Yes, it's £100, but believe me, it'll be worth its weight in gold and worth the money when you're buying a BMW, or if you're buying loads of BMWs, that is the scan tool to have. Thank you very much for watching, guys. It's BMW Dr. Dean here, and goodbye.